care of them and do all the things that they need. So that's kind of what happens as we go on. Now remember, the angel is talking to the mother here. Verse 6, so the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of God came to me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God. Very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not tell me his name. And he said to me, behold, you shall not conceive and bear a son. Now drink no wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. So there, the full Nazarite vow for this unborn child, for this son, for his entire life. And look what Manoah does, verse 8. Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, O my Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent to us again. Let me read this again, I'm sorry. O my Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come to us again and teach us what we shall do for the child who will be born. Manoah realizes that raising a child that's going to have this full Nazarite vow might be a little bit different than just raising him out like you normally would. He wants to make sure that they do everything what? We'll do everything right. We want to do everything correct. We want to follow everything. We want to prepare him. Because you think about the promise that was made to her and you think about what was said, what's riding on this here? Manoah's feeling a little like the pressure, isn't he? What's riding on this? Not just the life of their son, who has yet to come, but who else? Israel, the nation of Israel, in the bondage of the Philistines, have been there for a long time. So he makes this prayer. Have any of us as parents, before your child was born, as your child's growing up, do we make prayers about, hope we're doing the right things? I hope we're teaching them the right things. Are we showing them the right things? You know, not just saying the right things, but doing the right thing. Are we doing all those? Are we preparing them for life in this world? And that's what Manoah, that's one of his worries here. He wants to make sure that he's doing everything. Teach us what we should do. And that's the plea that we talk about. And God listened, verse 9. God listened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came to the woman again as she was sitting in the field, but Manoah, her husband, was not with her. Then the woman ran in haste and told her husband and said to him, look, the man who came to me the other day has just now appeared to me. So Manoah arose and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he said to him, are you the man who spoke to this woman? And he said, I am. Manoah said, now let your words come to pass. What will be the boy's rule of life and his work? So after he makes this plea to God for assistance, send this man back so we may understand what we're supposed to do, God answers him, and he sends him back to his wife again. And then she runs and gets Manoah, and then Manoah comes, and then they have this conversation with him. He wants to question him. He wants to understand what they're supposed to do. And so the angel answers again with similar words that they had talked before. Verse 13, so the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor may she drink wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean. All that I have commanded her, let her observe. So why is it important if the Nazarite vow is for the person, when the person voluntarily makes the choice, why is it important for the mother to do it now? Exactly. I mean, she's having to take the vow because anything that she takes the wine, she takes this. Whatever she eats, it's unclean. The wine that it's what they're not supposed to do when they make the vow, the Nazarite vow. They don't want it to enter his body at any time, do they? Prior to his birth, he is given. It's going to be a lifelong vow, a lifetime vow that he's going to make. And so Manoah here wants to make sure that what will become of him, and what will be the boy's rule of life, what will be his work. And so he commands again and repeats everything that he had said to her before. As we continue on, I'll get my pages turned here. we see interaction between Manoah and this angel. And at this point, Manoah does not realize that this person is what? He doesn't know that he's an angel to the Lord. He hasn't figured that out yet. You know, his wife thought it was a man of God. Somebody. All right, verse 15. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "Please let us detain you, and we will prepare a young goat for you." And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I will not eat your food. But if you offer a burnt offering, you must offer it to the Lord." For Manoah did not know he was an angel of the Lord. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "What is your name, that when your words come to pass, we may honor you?" And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful?" So Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it upon the rock to the Lord. And he did a wondrous thing while Manoah and his wife looked on. And it happened as the flame went up toward heaven from the altar, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell on their faces to the ground. When the angel of the Lord appeared no more to Manoah and his wife, then Manoah knew he was an angel of the Lord. Was it the commands coming from what they thought was a man of God initially? Did it drive home any point further to them when Manoah they finally realized this is an angel of the Lord? I think it probably did. I mean, but this man of God that they see, he's making these predictions and these prophecies about this unborn child that they have. And again, you know, we think about an unborn child. It's not just a child. It's a what? It's a son. And this son is going to do these things. He's going to take these vows. He's going to deliver Israel from the Philistines. Man, that's a lot to take in all at one time. Now they realize he's an angel of the Lord. I mean, they recognize it, don't they? And miraculous as he's called up there in the fire and goes up, as he ascends into the flame, and they realize who he is and what he said. Do you think it drove the point home just maybe a little bit more? I think it did. I think it helped them understand that. But look what Manoah asks next. Verse 22. And Manoah said to his wife, "We shall surely die because we have seen God." Is that a pretty fair assessment? Pretty fair understanding. What does it tell us about Manoah? He knows what? You're not supposed to see what? You're not supposed to see the face of God. You're not supposed to see him. And if you do, you die. So why didn't they die? It wasn't the face of God, it was the angel of God. But look what the answer is from his wife. But his wife said to him, "If the Lord had desired to kill us, he would not have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all these things, nor would he have told us such things at this time." So for you ladies, it's a good lesson right there that what? Husbands, what? Listen to your wife. She's smart. Don't overreact. Your wife's smart. She understands these things. Don't think too fast. Don't think too quick. But she recognized it, didn't she? She said, why would God do that? Why would he show us all these things only to do what? To kill us, to destroy us. Why would he show us? Why would he tell us all these things just to do that? And he wouldn't. He would not do that. Verse 24, so the woman bore a son and called his name Samson, and the child grew, and the Lord blessed him, and the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon him at Mahaneh-dan between Zorah and Eshtaol. So Samson, it tells us he's born, he grows up, the Lord continues to bless him, he's blessed with the Spirit, it moves upon him, and he is going to keep the Nazirite vows for a long time. But just the story of Samson itself, does he keep them forever? No. What does he do? What vows does he not keep? Yeah, he cuts his hair. He kind of got deceived a little bit, didn't he? But he allowed it to happen. And how did he allow it to happen? He allowed woman. So men, this is a good example here. Grow your hair as long as you want to. Maybe that's not the lesson. I'm not sure. Not there. But Samson ended up, he would not keep these vows. And we can talk about his life a little bit. Again, Samson's life was not the story of what we want to talk about today. We really just wanted to look at the plea that Manoah made and wanting to fully understand what do we need to do to raise this child right and be right with the Lord. And so when he grows, so when it tells us that he grew and the Lord was with him, it's obviously they did something right, even though it was predicted. I mean, could they just let their son do and go and do whatever he wanted to do, raising him? The Lord said he's going to be blessed. The Lord's going to, can we give that much? Can we, as parents, can we give that up and just say, they'll figure it out? Yeah. Yep. Yep. We see in the story of Samson just the what he did, the way he viewed. He saw the women of the Philistine and wanted one of them, and his parents, is there not a woman among our own people? You know, is there not someone there? And it ended up getting in a lot of trouble there. So when we look at kind of the lessons about it, every time we always say that God hears our prayers and he answers our prayers. You know, God's answer to a set of parents that didn't have a child and couldn't have a child, he answered that. But kind of like Hannah and Samuel, that prophecy, and we don't know, we're not told that they long for a child, but most people do, don't they? Most parents do. We just see here that the story is a little bit different than the others that we discussed, just because the angel came to them. But would it have been inappropriate for them, or would it have been odd for them to have that plea to God and to ask God? It wouldn't, would it? It definitely wouldn't have. And these Nazirite vows, they have expectations, and the requirements that they had were very specific about what they should do and what they should not do. Is the Christian walk, is it much different? I mean, it's not. I mean, what about the Christian walk? I mean, do we have things that, we can't cut our hair, or we don't need to do this? There's some of those things that we look at, well, that's part of the Nazirite vow, but as a Christian walk, I mean, obviously we need to do our best to avoid what? Sin at all costs, whatever that may be. You know, whatever that may be. Now, when we look back at the story of Samson in his life, when he allowed the secret to be known about what would cause him his strength, when we see that sin, and you could call that a sin, allowing that to be known, it cost him. It actually ended up costing him his life, even though he took a lot of the Philistines with him at that point. And God's plan for Samson was to do what? To free Israel from their bondage. Let's do a parallel with him, and Jesus. What does Jesus free us from? Bondage of sin, the bondage that we have there. So delivering Israel from that. But we know for Israel, and when we think about it, and again, I always mention it to Winston, because Winston did the study for us on the kings, and we talked about, it seemed like things were good, and then another king would come along and did evil, and then there goes Israel following after this king who was doing evil, and it's just like a roller coaster. Well, life for us is like a roller coaster. You know, we talk about it at work and sales. It's really hard to just maintain that steady climb of sales. There's so much in work environment and so much in the business world that dictates it. Things happen, certain things happen, and you know, you're going to have ups and downs, but you have to learn to rise out of those, and that's what Samson, delivering Israel from bondage, that's what he did, and that's what Christ did for us. But if we're troubled, just like Manoah, if we're troubled and we're not sure, what did he do? What was the important thing that he did? He asked what? How do we do it? He asked for help, didn't he? We don't know. We're not sure. Is it shameful to ask for help? But David, sometimes we're just supposed to, hey, you just what? Figure it out. You know, and I'll close with this. We just got a minute or so left. I know working for Dad growing up, the older I got, the more I learned, the more I was turned loose to do other things. Hey, you go lay this wall out. You go build this header. You go do whatever. You do this. And there was times that I messed up. And it would have been very easy to just come over there and say, here, I'm going to show you how to do it. But sometimes you just got to let them mess up. And we're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes. It's kind of like the Christian walk. Sometimes we have to learn from our mistakes. How do we learn if something's hot? You just don't have to touch it. And what you learn from that that basic understanding there can help you further along. So Manoah asked for help. He asked for help from the man of God. Who can we ask help from? And we'll close with that. Who can we ask help from? God himself. We do that through the avenue of prayer. Who else? Fellow brothers and sisters. If I was in trouble and I felt like I could make a phone call, if anybody in here was in trouble and felt like they could make a call or send a text or send a message, how many people would be there to help? Probably way more than you'd need to do what you need to do. That's what we do. Any comments there before we close out? David, I told you this one will be a little simpler than, I didn't get David riled up tonight. You're just glad.